Hello friends and welcome back to the C.Gars channel. Today me and Billy back to take a look at the Cuban and New World cigars of the month for October. Billy, what have you got today?
So for the month of October, I have the Cuban cigar of the month, and this month we have the Hoyo de Monterrey Epicure No.3. Now we have a good friend in the industry who swears by these, right? He's smoked box upon box, and I mean, I'm yet to try one. So from that sort of recommendation, I'm really interested in this cigar. I'm really looking forward to get into it. It comes in at 4 7/8 of an inch long with a ring gauge of 54, and as the rest of the Hoyo de Monterrey range, it is a very mild cigar. So we'll see what it has to offer.
Nice.
What about you?
So I have the Oscar Valladares, the Oscar Maduro Corona. This comes in at 5 1/4 of an inch long with a 44 ring gauge. This has a mixture of Nicaraguan and Honduran tobaccos, and then the wrapper is actually a nice dark San Andres wrapper. So looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be quite complex, just judging from the tobaccos in this, but let's get them cut and lit and then we'll meet you guys in the first third. Perfect.
So we've made our way through the first third of these cigars today, and for the Hoyo de Monterrey, I'm going to start off with the presentation. These cigars look immaculate. I mean, the Hoyo de Monterrey range as a whole, I think, is quite a good-looking brand, right? You walk into the Cuban humidor and they catch your eye. Real clean white band with that red and the gold. It just really pops and stands out. Especially for me. I mean, I'm a sucker for gold, so it stands out to me at least. Moving on to the construction of this cigar, I have been majorly surprised. I mean, we've had experiences, most of us have had experiences with Cuban cigars where it's a little bit wonky here and there, real tight draw. But for this cigar today, the draw, I don't know if you can, the burn, I don't know if you can see, has been immaculate. Really straight, no need for touch-ups anywhere at all. And yeah, it's just been a real pleasant experience. I will say, however, the draw on this has been a slightly tight for my personal preference. It sorted itself out. I kind of put I put the tool down the end of it, and it's opened it up, and the smoke output, everything has improved. So no real complaints. It can be sorted with minor sort of inconvenience, if it makes sense. Flavor wise, I would say it's kind of a hay flavor, or like a barnyard flavor, but I wouldn't say it's musty. A lot of Cuban cigars I've smoked have that mustiness. This is quite a sweet flavor profile. Sweet hay with a slight bit of saltiness here and there as well. So balance is good, sweet, salty, we all love it. It's just been pleasant so far, so can't really complain at all. So
I have to say that the burn is, the ash is holding really well.
Yeah, again, thoroughly surprised, but pleasantly.
Now we've spoken about it, it's going to fall.
Yeah, more than likely. I'll take the next. I'll take the next one, and it'll probably fall out all over my clothes again. But yeah, how's the Oscar Valladares?
So the Oscar, it's been a little bit all over the place with flavor profile. Okay. I'll start with construction though. So the burn is spectacular, completely straight. The ash was holding incredibly well. I did knock it off at one point though, but that was my personal choice. The draw is slightly on the tighter side, but it's really not an issue. I'm not having to use a perfect draw or anything like that. Flavor wise, it started off really salty. It reminded me of popcorn for some reason. Just got like a popcorn, like salty popcorn sort of flavor from that. Then I've got some citrus in there. Not really sure if it's like a lemony or like anything like that.
It's kind of hard to pinpoint which one.
Exactly,
right?
Yeah, but it's just very citrusy. I then got like a slight sweetness, but I can't really figure it out. I can't pinpoint that either. And then after maybe the first like few minutes, like 3-4 minutes, the aftertaste became sort of quite metallic-y. Okay. It's that sort of bright taste that you were talking about previously in our older videos. But yeah, it's a little bit all over the place with flavor profile so far, and considering it's the first third and it's that complex, intrigued to see what it's going to be like in the final 2/3. But overall, it's not too bad. I can't complain really.
Good. Another two great choices by the sound of it.
Yeah, of course. Always the case, though.
Yeah, exactly. Well, should we get through the middle third and then we'll check back in with you guys in a little while.
So we've come to the middle third now, and the Oscar Valladares hasn't changed all too much, but the sweetness I think has become a little bit more prominent to me. It's now, it turned into like a caramel chocolatey sweetness, which obviously you can't complain about. I've got a sweet tooth, so
I was going to say that's everyone's dream. That.
Yeah. Other than that, I'd say strength-wise, probably sitting at a medium to full, tinkering on the full side maybe. It's not the type of strength that makes you feel a little bit funny. You just feel a little bit in your head, and then I don't know where I was going with that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
It's got a little bit of strength to it, but it's not overwhelming. Yeah, not bad so far. Quite impressed with the change there.
Good.
What about the Hoyo?
Yeah, the Hoyo, again, similar to yourself, it's not overly complex. It doesn't change all that much. I haven't seen much of a transition from that first third to the middle third. The saltiness is a forefront flavour throughout the entirety of this cigar. The hay and the sweetness has kind of died down a little bit, and that saltiness has come through kind of, as I say, a mainstay. I've been surprised because, as I said in the first third, I haven't had any of that mustiness or any bitterness or anything like that. It's just a very, very mild, easygoing cigar. And I think from the Hoyo de Monterrey range itself, I don't think it's veered too much away from that blend. I think they kind of keep to that one thing and they've mastered it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a forefront and a mainstay flavour profile. So, as I say, not much to report in terms of flavour changes. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyable cigar. And it's made it better with the construction of this. I mean, burn is almost perfect. Draw a little bit tight again, but nothing really to complain about. So, yeah, I think the final third, it might ramp up a little bit. That bitterness might come in, but yeah, I don't really know. It's easygoing, very enjoyable, and yeah, not really too much to.
Would you say you can have it any time during the day then?
Yeah, I'd say sort of early afternoon, mid morning, maybe late morning, mid afternoon would be perfect. I think if you had anything that was too strong or too much of a hearty meal, I think you might lose that flavour profile.
Okay.
But yeah, anything for light lunch or anything like that, I think that'd be perfect.
I see. I'd say that you could probably have this early evening, maybe after a meal. But yeah, definitely, probably not a morning cigar. Maybe for some people. Yeah. I think it would go really well with coffee, to be fair.
Would you say, I suppose you didn't try the Pilon. I was going to say, because the Pilon was meant to be a really, really strong cigar, and to my surprise, I mean, we had that at 10 in the morning. And
yeah.
I handled it pretty well, I think, so
yeah,
maybe the same sort of thing. It comes down to preference, I guess.
Maybe so, yeah.
But yeah. I guess we'll take these down to the nub, and then we'll report back on any changes.
So we've come to the final thirds of our cigars today, and for the Oscar, the flavour profiles consistently changed like throughout, sort of the same flavour notes per se, but it I don't know, it just switches every now and then. It's really interesting, really complex, and makes you keep guessing, keep thinking about it.
An intriguing kind of cigar.
Yes, 100%. I'd say within this final third, I'm getting a lot of like those citrusy notes have come back, but there has been leather introduced now as well. And I think there's a slight metallic taste again.
Okay.
So it's like a mixture of these, like the sweetness, the saltiness, the citrus.
By the sounds of it, it's kind of, in layman's terms, I suppose, it's kind of like that bright flavour profile with that dark, earthy kind of, and they kind of blend together quite nicely. Okay.
I did think maybe there was a little bit of spice, but I wouldn't say it's prominent enough for me to
mention it as
Yeah, exactly. But I'd say if you if you have a mature palate, this is a great pick, because it's so complex. It makes you keep thinking about it, and it's not one that you want to sit back and just not think about. It's one that you want to dive deep into and really pick out those notes and that strength profile, the flavor profile, everything like that. But yeah, not bad. What about the Hoyo?
Yeah, I think we're on kind of, at the start, it kind of was similar flavor profile, right? And then towards the end, it's kind of, we're now on complete different ends of the spectrum, right? Yours is very complex, whereas mine's really straightforward. You haven't got to think about it too much. There's not all that much going on. It doesn't veer too far away from that initial flavour profile that you're met with. The only change I would say in the final third is, as expected, the bitterness has kind of ramped up. That sweet and that saltiness has died down. The bitterness has come through and you're getting a little slight coffee note here and there. But yeah, overall, I wouldn't say there's been too much complexity. There wouldn't be too much differences between thirds. But yeah, I think overall, real thoroughly enjoyable cigar. One thing I would suggest that I say quite a lot at events when we have sort of torpedo or then pointed end cigars, I would do as I've done and cut it with a straight cutter but on an angle, just because if you go straight off the end, you're likely to come too far below that cap and take off too much, take away from that sort of torpedo or bellicoso kind of shape. And yeah, I think if you're going to buy a bellicoso or a torpedo, you may as well keep that point intact, right? So just to open it up and bring the aperture to a slightly larger ring gauge, I would just angle it and cut it with a straight cutter.
Don't need to do too much of an angle, ever so slight, but it just creates more aperture for the draw.
Better airflow, and as we know, I mean, we had a little bit of a struggle with the draw to begin with, and I've opened up a little bit more with the cigar tool, but just to avoid that, I think you get more of a pleasant, at least in my experience, I get a more pleasant experience if I use an angle straight cut on these types of cigars. Yeah.
I think that these two cigars go great as a pair, as in like from different ends of the spectrum. So you got the more mature flavor profile, you've got something a little bit sweeter, a little bit lighter, something for different times of the day.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, isn't it? You know, having that difference. And so I think that sampler is going to be a really great one to pick up.
100%. I think, as you said, it's kind of, if you're someone that enjoys cigars on a regular basis, but you have a friend who's kind of new to it, this is a perfect thing, because this cigar may be for you. You enjoy them deeper, darker flavor profiles that you can think, but the Epicure, it offers that simplicity, nice mellow flavor profile. So I think, as you said, the sampler would be great for that sort of circumstance as well.
Do you know what? That sweetness has come back. Just within that,
it's up and down with that one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. It really is. Quite impressive, actually, how it just changes like that. I mean, there are very, to me anyway, there are very few cigars where I can pick out notes every few minutes, you know, and this is one of them. I think, you know, a lot of them, you see differences with the first third, second third. This is like constant, like it doesn't stop.
Well,
yeah,
seems like two great picks again, I think. But
if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like down below. Comment to let us know if you've tried these cigars before and what you thought of them. If you haven't, the sampler will be in the description below so you can try them both. And until next time, stay safe and happy herb. Peace.